Hey everybody, this is the guide rail bracket assembly video. Got everything laid out here, so let's take a look at what was in the box. All right, you have two base plates, two risers. You'll notice they're a little narrower one here. This is a wider one. This is called the yoke axle assembly. This is the pivot plate for the rear guide rail bracket. This is just called a mount. This is called the landing pad. This is the front bracket. We have a pressure bar, goes with the rear bracket on the pivot plate. Along with that is a special screw that has threads only on a certain portion of it. Two T-bars that go in the base plates for mounting on the side of the table. You have a hex wrench, two stud knobs, 10 black washers, and you have some T-bolts over here. 4 shorter ones and 4 longer ones. You have 8 normal knobs. And then for screws, we have 2 short ones and 6 longer ones. Over here, you get your spiral dog, 2 USBs, universal setup blocks, 4 medium-sized bench dogs. We've also included this special wrench that goes along with the hex wrench in the hardware pack. It's only to help you adjust the tension on the axle if you ever want to. Some people might want a little more tension, some people might want a little less. So that's what that's for. Hang on to it, and it'll help you to adjust this action to your preference. And that's it. Let's start putting it together. Okay, step 1 is we're going to put the yoke axle assembly on the riser of the rear bracket. Notice that this crescent-shaped cutout is going to be facing down toward the logo. So just arrange those so that you can line up the holes. We're going to take one of the long screws, start that in here, and get another one. Some people would choose to use a little bit of low strength thread lock on this. It's up to you. So that's all set. Next step is that we're going to put the pivot plate on the axle. So you want the pivot plate facing this side, not this side. So it goes like that. It just fits over that neck with this rectangular opening. So you can see those holes line up there. You're going to take the short screws. You cannot use the long screws here, so it's hard to make a mistake. Short screws only. And again, some people would use a little bit of low strength thread lock on this. Just make sure you've got them in nice and snug, because that is what's going to take all the action when you raise and lower your guide rail. So now let's take a look at where we're going to put the pressure bar and its special screw that has threads on just a portion of it. Okay, so you see we've got a post, and a threaded hole. The threaded hole goes in this one of these slotted holes. So it's hard to screw up. Let's say I have a Festool style rail, which means Festool, Makita, PowerTech, Milwaukee, all those similar style rails. They're going to go on this section of holes. If you have DeWalt or Craig, you're going to use this section of holes. There's another set, this one, and this one, which are for Bosch and Mafell rails, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Line up the threaded hole here with the slotted hole here. You can see it just like that, and then the studs just go right in, and now I can see through the bottom. There's my threaded hole. So that's where this special screw goes. So I'll just set that in there. And the idea with this special screw is that you can only tighten it so far, and it'll stop when it comes flush with the top of the pressure bar. And the idea there is you want this governing how far you can lift the pressure bar when you're installing and removing a guide rail. So this makes it easy. You might want to put a little low strength thread lock on this screw also. Now, you're going to take some black plastic washers, put those on here. Some of the regular knobs, put those here. Oops, don't drop it. Tighten that on. We'll just snug them up so that they don't flop around while we're doing the next step. Now, it's going to go on the base plate like this, with these holes closer to the top edge, not this way. Okay, so it just pops on there like that. And now get a stud knob and another black plastic washer. Okay, stud knob goes through here into the threaded hole in the base plate. And there you go. So that's all set. This governs raising and lowering the rear bracket in relation to the thickness of the workpiece you're using. So now we'll take one of these T-bars and we're going to put it here, in this case for a dashboard, on the top set of holes. Now we have 3 sets of holes, as you can see. So I'll just take this out again. The top set is for dashboard style tables. The middle set is for a typical T-slot extrusion table, such as something you would buy from 8020 or tslots.com. It's 15 series or 40 series T-slot material. It has a slot that's lower on it than in the dashboard bench. Plus, you would typically use a thicker bench top for that. So it's going to just locate that appropriately for that style of table. This bottom set is for the Festool MFT3. So in this case, I'm doing it for dashboard. So I'll just pop this in here. Now get another black washer here, another black washer here, regular knobs going like so. And this rear bracket is complete. But I'll just talk a little bit more about some other mounting options. Okay, I'll take a minute to talk about the alternate hardware that you will use on your rear bracket if you have a Bosch or Mafell rail. We've already talked about using the pressure bar for a Festool style rail. That goes in this set of holes. And if you have a Craig rail or a DeWalt rail, that goes in this set of holes. So we're not going to use that. So what we do now is we include all hardware for multiple rail types in every hardware pack. So some people will have extra hardware. It just simplifies ordering, which was a pain in the neck before where people had to choose which type of rail they had. So if you get extra stuff, great. I'm sure you'll find some other use for it. Now, these are the shorter T-bolts I talked about earlier. They are just for the Bosch or Mafell rail. And they go in the other sets of holes. So you're going to put one here, at this one in the back, and this one here. Because your rail has 2 slots on the underside, we're going to attach it in 2 places to make it extra secure. So you will simply take one of these washers, put it on from underneath, followed by a knob with each of these T-bolts, and then perform the normal setup process that we have in another video about setting up the guide rail brackets as you would with any rail. So that's the only difference for your Bosch and Mafell guide rail. Okay, moving now to the front guide rail bracket. You can see we've got this piece fits here. That's hard to make a mistake with. So you're going to just take the remaining long screws, put those in there. And like I said, thread lock is up to you. These aren't typically under much stress, but if you're doing a lot of sanding or something with a lot of vibration on your table and these happen to be installed on there, it might be a consideration for you. Now, so this faces like so. There's only one way to do it. Now we're going to put what we call the landing pad onto this mount. So again, the logo is out, and the slots on this are going to be out that way also. So these holes will line up, and you're going to, again, use the longer screws. You have only 2 remaining. So this just goes in here. And we'll do the other one. And, you know, you're only doing this once. So it really doesn't take much time in the scheme of your whole life. And it's good to learn about how these things are designed and how they go together. So that's all set. Again, grab the base plate, set this on here, take a stud knob, a washer, put that here, and that's all set. Take a T-bar, put that through. I've got a couple of more black washers, a couple more knobs, and the front guide rail bracket is all set. Once again, you can use the longer T-bolts if you have a table with a narrower track that won't fit the T-bar. So your guide rail brackets are fully assembled and ready to work.